In this video, I will be painting some pink roses. My plan for this painting is to keep watercolor as loose as possible. I will be adding some highlights with soft pastels, but I don't want any pastel texture, so I will try to blend pastels with watercolor as much as possible. Roses are pretty complex flowers, and I noticed I don't have a lot of paintings with that subject on my channels, so I decided to give them a try. And of course, I will want my painting to be as realistic as possible so I can do justice to these beautiful flowers. Here is my reference photo. I found it in Free Reference Photo for Artists group on Facebook. Thank you, Trish, for posting it. I sketched out these roses very generally, just an outline on a 18 by 24 sheet of watercolor paper. This is cold press, 100% cotton. And of course, since I want my painting to be very loose in my loose expressive style, I'm going to start with a wet sheet of paper. I will start painting with the background. So I'm not wetting the whole paper, I'm wetting the paper around the outline of the roses. You see the color palette on your screen. The first three colors I will use for roses, and then the rest for the background, but they will participate in the roses. I will use them for shadows as well. I'm going to make the background a lot darker than it is in the reference photo, because I think that will make the roses stand out more. And I'm going to start with the background because I don't want to accidentally over darken the roses, because it makes a big difference if what you're painting you're comparing with white sheet of paper or with something dark that's already painted. If you're interested in learning more about watercolor painting, I created a class for beginner watercolorists. It's called From Zero to Watercolor Hero. It's available on my website, kseniaanis.com. I will leave you the link in the description. This class will teach you all you need to know, all the basics of working with watercolors. It's over 7 hours of content. It's 3 modules that talk about materials, talk about paint application techniques, and also about general principles of painting, how to show volume, how to show light and shadows. So hopefully you'll check it out and join my community of watercolor heroes. On the background, I'm working very abstractly. I am applying indigo and then dropping in sap green dip into it. And I try very hard not to go into details, not to paint like the leaves separately, and not to cover the whole sheet of paper. I want to let my painting breathe, and in watercolor it's very important to leave at least a little bit of white paper somewhere. I decided to add just a tiny bit of ultramarine purple just to counteract all those cool colors with a little warmer shade. It's going to be just a couple brush strokes. So working with a flat brush and manipulating paint on the wet surface, working fairly quickly, trying to get this background done before paper dries. I don't want any hard edges yet, so everything seems to be floating and mixing nicely. Let's drop in a little bit of cascade green as well for some cooler areas, kind of hinting at the leaves and the stems behind the bouquet, and not exactly copying the reference photo either. Just want to have a nice balanced background around my future roses. Okay, I think this has a very nice loose feeling to it. That's enough for now. I'm going to lay my board flat so paint will stop moving. I had it at a slight angle, and I'm going to let the background dry. This is what I have after the background dried. I will probably be adding a few more brush strokes to it, but for now I want to work on the flowers. So I will definitely need opera pink. That's my object color. The pink on the roses in the reference photo is slightly warmer, but I don't have that pigment and it would be kind of hard for me to mix it. I will be adding a little bit of yellow to warm up my opera pink in some areas, but I think starting with opera pink will be fine. Let's start distributing that color. And I'm also going to add just a little bit of Magenta Permanent by Sennelier because I need a cooler version of Opera Pink, and Magenta Permanent works perfectly for that. So I created a wet area with Opera Pink, and I am immediately dropping in other colors because I want them to still be soft and mixed together. Don't want any hard edges at first. And I switched to a round brush as well because I want more control, and I still want to work pretty lightly. I don't want a huge amount of pigment because I don't want the roses obviously to be darker than the leaves. The leaves are the darkest areas in my painting. Because I'm painting fairly large, this is 18 by 24 like I said, I have to use sufficiently large brushes. If you try to paint this size painting with a tiny little brush, first of all, it will take forever. And second of all, your initial color wash will dry and other colors will not mix with it. You will get all hard edges. And that's when things start looking kind of stripy. And that's when we say the watercolor is too dry, right? It's dry looking. I'm working with shapes. Roses are a complex form, even though these ones are completely open, almost completely I should say, and we can see the petals fairly clearly. Still, the petals have that complex shape. There are a lot of them. So to approach a subject like that, we need to look for color shapes instead of trying to figure out geometric forms. Dark colors as well because I need to start deepening certain areas. I'm dropping in indigo to cool off some of my pinks even more. I have to be a little bit careful with that. They do mix on paper and create really nice purple color that's really similar to the shadows that I see on the flowers in the reference photo. I will be adding some hard edges to this painting, but I will be doing it with soft pastels that I will hopefully blend with watercolor sufficiently where they will look like an organic part of this painting. The edges of the flowers are very light, they're highlighted, so those highlights I will be creating with pastels. Let's work on this flower on the right, doing the same thing. I'm creating an initial wash with the object color with a very large brush, and then I am dropping other colors into that wash while it's still wet. You can see that nice purple that I mixed with magenta, opera pink, and a little bit of indigo all together. This flower on the right, I didn't get the shape quite right with the background, but it doesn't matter. I can add a little bit of the background around it after this layer dries. There's also a nice little bud sticking out there on the bottom. Let's paint that as well. I kind of missed it in the early stages. All those small details, they really add to the visual interest of the painting. The thing to remember about roses, of course, most likely you've seen plenty of roses in real life, but I just want to mention this might be a helpful observation that the petals are stacked in kind of checkerboard pattern, so they all overlap, and if we can paint that or even kind of hint at that, the flower immediately starts to look like a rose. We recognize that pattern. Alright, this was my second layer. I let it dry completely because I want to work on the background some more. And I cannot work on the background if my flowers are wet, because watercolor will go where it's wet, where there is water, and there's a high possibility of messing up the flowers. But now that they're dry, I can verify the edges of the flowers and add a little bit more to the background, still trying to preserve white of the paper in some areas, and still trying to keep my background very abstract and loosely painted. Because the flowers are so structured, I want loose and free-flowing background. I switched back to my flat brush, and the important thing here is to look at the painting, maybe even more than at the reference photo, and to see what it needs. Where do I need to add those dark brush strokes? Not to choke my flowers with a dark background, not surround them completely, leave them some breathing room in some spaces, but also to have a balanced and good looking background. So kind of listening to your painting and working with what you already have on the page, not trying to fight watercolor, but working with it. Adding just a few brush strokes here and there, maybe finding a few buds that I missed at the first pass. Some leaves will overlap the flowers, so we can paint them at this stage. And notice that I do not move paint around very much to get a dark saturated brush stroke. It's important to put the paint down and to leave it alone and not try to bring water into it or try to move it somehow. If you need to make a correction, it's best to make it with color and not with water, because that's when all those blossoms appear. Painting becomes muddy and loses saturation also as well. The flower on the right is in shadow, so I can soften the edge between the background and the flower itself. When something is in shadow, we don't really see a hard edge that much. That's also good for visual interest of my painting overall. And let's deepen the shapes of this main flower that we see. The one in the center, using a smaller brush. I'm using magenta permanent and some opera pink also in some areas, to deepen the center of the flower. That immediately makes my painting more three-dimensional. I did not draw the center of the flowers. I only drew the outline. We will be using pastel, which is a liner tool, and we will be able to find all these details. So not having a drawing actually helps us to paint loosely without getting too concerned with the details, because if you have an accurate drawing, a lot of times we start kind of coloring things in. We lose that spontaneity. So I think it's better to draw with a brush when you're working with watercolor, and then you can add some precision to your flower, make corrections with pastels when we get to pastels. That's why I like that technique so much, because pastel also has good coverage and I don't have to have all those pencil lines to deal with when I work. They can also be visible on the lighter tones of watercolor, which are okay sometimes if you're working like on an urban sketch or something like that, but for flowers maybe not the best idea to have a lot of kind of scratchy pencil lines under all the petals. I see a lot of yellow reflected light in the flowers. They're kind of, I think, on the stage where they're starting to fade a little bit. But also, I think that's the color of the roses itself. It has a lot of warmth in it. So let's drop in a few brush strokes of New Gamboge. It also helps to warm up and vary all those pinks and purples that I used for the flowers. Especially that flower that turned away from us has a lot of yellow in it. Alright, this is all I'm going to do with watercolor, and let's start working with our dry pastels. I'm going to start by finding all the highlights, all the edges of those petals that you see have a really light highlight in the reference photo. I'm using white and I'm using very pale pink, and I'm immediately softening my pastel lines so that they will blend really well with watercolor. Pastel on watercolor paper leaves a lot of texture, which I don't want in my painting. You will see it larger at the end of the video, you will see that I pretty much blended all the pastels where they're almost unnoticeable. I think pale yellow will also work for some of the edges, gives nice warmth to the painting. If you don't have dry pastels, maybe you have pastel pencils or something like that, watercolor pencils will probably work for this. Maybe even regular color pencils. You'll just have to do a little more shading and blending with your finger or with a special tool that's called tortillon. You could probably use oil pastels. It will be a little bit different look because oil pastels are very textured and kind of a little heavier. But this technique allows us to approach a very complex subject, roses, and get basically fail-proof results, because watercolor is hard to control, but with pastels we can make corrections, we can bring back the highlights, we can darken certain areas if we need to be, and the end result will still look soft and painterly, and also the painting will still look very realistic. So putting finishing touches on the flowers, going through all the petals, trying to find the lighter areas without overworking, of course. I can also go back to watercolor. I have some magenta on my brush and I can darken just a few areas. If you touch the areas where you applied pastels with your watercolor brush, the chalk will melt, but the pigment will remain. So you can soften pastel lines with some water. That's another great way to work with pastels, that they can also become kind of one with watercolor. See, I did a little too much on that first flower. I was kind of trying to figure out what I want to do here. So I blended all the pastels with just water with my watercolor brush. Let's work on the central flower. I started a little bit with the details, as you saw, with watercolors, but now I need to find all the highlights. So before I add any more dark areas, I am looking for highlights and trying not to apply them everywhere and not to make them monotonous. The flower is lit, I think, from the lower left probably. So I'm going to keep those highlights to that side and use slightly darker tone. I'm using pale pink in just a few areas on the right where I need a little bit lighter petals, but not as brightly highlighted as on the left. Okay, let's blend this one. Add a little bit watercolor, unify everything. Unity is very important in painting. You don't want it to be all fractured, all like little separate shapes. And if I apply too much pastels or too much watercolor, I can always get my scrubber brush and lift color. It lifts very easily. That's pastels are easy to work with because it's easy to make corrections. Alright, the central flower is done. The one on the right is the least detailed. So I'm just going to add a few pastel lines here just to separate a few petals, maybe lighten some areas, but I want it to be in shadow and I don't want it to attract attention. The flower in the center, I want it to be the most developed. That's my focal point. And the one on the left and on the right will need to be less developed to maintain my composition and my focal point in the painting. I'm going to darken a little bit in just a few places, few touches. I feel like this flower on the right blended with the background maybe just a little too much. Let's try lightening that background because light kind of goes past the flowers and hits the wall behind there, so there needs to be a highlight behind the flower, that flower on the right that's turned away from us. Let me know in comments what you think about this technique, watercolor and dry pastels. I used it before for animals. If you saw the painting of tigers on my channel, that was one experiment. I'll leave you the link to that one in the description. But do you think it works for flowers? Please let me know in comments. And here is the final painting. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one here on Tamirab Studios channel. Help other artists to see this video by liking or sharing it. To see future videos, subscribe and click the bell button to be notified when they're published. Thanks again and stay creative!